Oh, hello, 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 hello. How's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome, 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 welcome. Leicester City nil, Arsenal 2. That's what it's all about. Arsenal actually managed to get a result. Arsenal actually have beaten Leicester City. My prediction was that Arsenal are gonna draw 2-2, but actually we managed to get the job done. First clean sheet. What it feels like about 55 years. Wait, my bad. Doesn't it? First clean sheet in about 55 years. 11 shots, 5 on target, 2 goals. Not too bad, not too bad. 61% possession. Obviously, stats meaningless unless you get the win, of course. That's what we all say and know. Obviously. Big up Marlon already in the chat before the stream. About 20 minutes he was here. Merino turned into Prime R9. Exactly. And to be honest, to some extent, I probably can guarantee you that someone will get this wrong, because this, if you haven't already seen, this is the thumbnail for today's stream. This is the thumbnail for today's stream. If you haven't seen it already, this is the thumbnail. Merino looking like R9, and the Leicester City 2-0 Merino, the next big thing and everything. 100% people won't grasp the concept of sarcasm, and they will just run with it. Genuinely, they will just run with it at the end of the day. Who would have thought that we turned into Merino Prime at 9 striker? Nwaneri was a beast. He was fantastic. Man of the match for me, man of the match for everyone, to be honest. Let's be real, he was phenomenal. We have genuinely lucked out that we have Nwaneri in a position where he actually has a chance, because at some point it looked like he won't even have a chance at Arsenal. But since Saka's injury, he's taken that one game. Havertz was playing there, it didn't work out. Martinelli didn't work out there. We put Nwaneri there and it has worked out. Ironically enough, Arsenal are back where they were in a way. Again, as I say this on almost every single stream, Arsenal again are putting the weight on teenagers' shoulders, just like they did with Fabregas, Emil Smith-Rowe, Bukayo Saka, Wilshere, Ramsey, you name it basically. But it has worked out for Arsenal every single time, and it looks like, at least for now, until Saka comes back at the end of the season, but next season, let's be real, I want him back next season, not this season. It's gonna be that way, that Ethan Nwaneri is gonna carry the team. The sad part about this is, again, we are putting the weight of the club's disaster in a way and hopes on teenagers' shoulders. We are not looking to our experienced players like Trossard, like Odegaard, like Declan Rice to some extent, let's be real. We are looking to our youngster, who is a rookie in the league. Let's be real. We are not looking to our veteran players, to be honest. We are looking to a youngster. But it has worked out. Hopefully, he can carry the load. Let's just be real. Pause and all that stuff. But hopefully, he can carry the team until at least Martinelli comes back and he has some rotation. Let's just put it that way. We'll see how that goes. But ultimately, yeah, at the end of the day, of course, before we, by the way, got into that, if you haven't already, like the stream, like it, caress it, destroy it, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new around here, and of course, leave your thoughts down in the live chat so we can tackle them. But was that Merino's audition where it was Oyedeji audition? That's the biggest thing. We technically have a striker, which is Oyedeji. We technically have Kenyon Edwards, but we are not using them. We sold Mika Biereth. We sold Chidobe Martin told Arteta to piss off. And and Ketia just went and everything. And we are basically now, phase 5, by the way, 5.5 years into the process, right? And we are playing a number 6 or number 8, how you look at it, at striker. And ironically enough, he has better finishing than our attackers. That's also is kind of weird, isn't it? It's like the team has been built ass backwards. Because our defenders and midfielders, excluding Odegaard, let's be real, and Rice to some extent, have better finishing than our attackers. Because I can guarantee you that much, that if it was Havertz in Merino's position, at least one of those chances don't go into the back of the net, 100%. As much as I hate to basically diss Havertz when he's not playing, but we have seen that story before and it hasn't been pretty. Let's just say it as it is. So yeah, it is what it is at the end of the day. So only time will tell how that will develop. Will Merino now start every single game as a number 9? God knows. Because if we start Merino as a 9, it kinda hampers and hinders our chances in midfield subs, let's be real, because then we have only Jorginho. So it's basically you gain something and you lose something. Arguably our attack is more desperate for some players than our midfield, but at the same time, we play a midfielder as a number 9. That is desperation already to the maximum extent. After 800 million spent, being phase 5.5 years into the process and everything, we are forced to play a number 6 as a striker. That genuinely cannot fly. No big club operates like that. You wouldn't ask Bayern Munich to play Paulinho as a striker. You wouldn't ask basically City to play Rodri as a striker. You have to take that into account as well. And to a massive extent, Arteta had an issue, and again, he lucked out. He randomly subbed on Merino, and it worked to a charm. He arguably is the luckiest manager in the world, because he lucked out with the FA Cup and Aubameyang, which gave him at least 2 more years. He then got the new contract on that premises. Then Emil Smith-Rowe and Bukayo Saka saves his career. He lucks out then. He lucked out with the fact that Ben White was useless as a center back when he just signed him, so he pushed him out at right back, which left a gap in the center back spot, which meant Saliba, he could not loan out anymore. So he had to play Saliba as a center back now. And he doubly lucked out in that regard, because Ben White is actually decent as a right back, and Saliba just grew up as being a phenomenal center back to that extent. And then we just fast forward year after year after year, and then he lucks out with Saka and everything. It's just all over the place how lucky this manager can be to a certain extent. Because obviously luck favors the strongest. Without luck, there is no titles, no championships, no achievements to a certain extent. But the amount of lucks, the amount of lives this manager has, it's like a cat. Cat has 9 lives, and it feels like Arteta has 9 lives as well. That's how it feels like. But hey, it is what it is. Nwaneri, I'm telling this kid is just a masterpiece, man. He deserves that. Nwaneri is phenomenal, I'm not gonna lie. For that age, what he's doing, it's fantastic. The big question is, where is he going to play when Saka comes back? Because he has shown that he can start. Not to maximum extent, to a certain extent. So that already gives Arsenal a rotational option. That gives Arsenal a chance to play either or, and we shouldn't lose as much quality as we have lost before. And that actually saves some money for Mikel Arteta to sign the necessary players in other positions in terms of the rotation. Isn't it? That actually kind of saves everything. Because we needed a backup for Saka. We had Reece Nelson, technically Fabio Vieira. They were Pupu, Kaka, Kakarel. All that crap, right? So we have Nwaneri, who basically has genuinely rose into a recognition from overnight, basically, right? And now for the next season, it kind of has helped Arteta in regards of trying to find a backup for Bukayo Saka, because he has it now. He has in Nwaneri, and to have basically a teenager there who should have no reasoning to ask, being a regular starter, first team minutes, consistent basis, he actually has, it actually is very fortunistic for him. Another some sort of a lucky situation for him in that regard. Now the biggest question is, it saves us money in transfer market to look for the proper options we need desperately. Will he do that though? Is a completely different story. Let's be real. Let's be real. Yeah, and the rescue for Arsenal, but Sterling, yeah. Can we just cancel Sterling or just pay him all the money right now and give him till the end of the season, just chill in hotels or at home and just not come even to training or something like that? That actually would be quite fantastic in that regard. Because he offers us less than a wet towel and everything. Just, oh my goodness. As much as I hate Odegaard, he deserves more respect for the ability. Today he was better than normally in a way. He has been quite crap, let's be real, since he's come back from the ankle injury. And overall, the whole season, he's been bang average at best. There have been some great times, but there also mostly has been some mediocre lower end performances. Today he was a bit better, but overall, again, nothing special. The biggest threat arguably was again from Ethan Nwaneri, from a 17-year-old. And the fact that we rely on that kid more than we rely on Odegaard, our captain, to Rice, to Sterling, to Trossard, to our main guys, the veterans who should know how to do stuff, is kind of bizarre to me. Because everyone expected for Nwaneri to play, but nobody, let's be real, expected for Nwaneri to carry the team in a way he's carrying right now. Just like Bukayo Saka when he was just a teenager, we put him from left back into right wing, and pretty much instantly, to some extent, nobody expected for him to instantly carry the team the way he had. Over the past years, basically, to some extent single-handedly on his back. And that's what Ethan Nwaneri, in a way, is doing. Now, obviously, he is very talented, very fantastic player, very young. If he can avoid injuries, basically the world is his oyster. Let's be real. But in a way, that right position for those two players, Saka and Nwaneri, is like the sweet spot. They know what to do here, and they basically shine in that spot. Obviously, Martinelli and Havertz were there. They were crap there. But if you have the right abilities, the right talent, and the right skills and footballing IQ to make some plays, you can really thrive, because it feels like that our team obviously is Stuck FC and built for that right wing side. And Nwaneri has gone into that right wing side almost like, I don't know, a region of Bukayo Saka. Maybe not to the same level, but to some possibilities. Let's just put it that way. We have to apologize. We don't. One, broken clock is also right twice a day. Let's be real. Let's not push the narrative that everything is fine and dandy. Merino is the next R9. Merino is the best thing since sliced bread. Arteta is genius for subbing him on at striker. Let's be real. It's not the case. We should be beating Leicester City by default. First of all. Second of all, it shouldn't take us so much difficulty to score a goal against them as well. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. To Merino, yes, Arteta fucked out. See, even Marlon agrees with me. Even Marlon agrees with me on that regard. Exactly, bro just took a gamble and it paid off. It's just like basically hitting slot machine. It just rolls, and on random time you just hit the jackpot. Not jackpot, maybe you hit something. Because how comes many times when we sign these players, they don't excel in the specific position they have been signed to play in, but they excel in a completely different position. Because Merino was signed as a midfielder, but his best performance to date has been at striker. We signed Ben White to be a center back. His best performances is at right back. Right? Havertz, Arteta's words himself, signed as a midfielder, yet his best performances have been as a number 9. How does that even work? You sign a player who does... Our best left back is a midfielder. Like, it makes zero sense, but on some level it actually works. It's a madness, but sometimes chaos is something you need, and it works to a charm. It's somehow very weird. Very, very weird. And Dubai Chip fixed up the team too. Didn't look that way. To be honest, the overall whole performance for the team was bang average. We just basically, as soon as once we scored the first goal, you could feel the momentum shift. Otherwise, the first 30 minutes was shambles. The other part of this first half, it was a 50-50. And let's not act like Leicester didn't have chances to score. Miles Lewis-Skelly last-ditch tackle to stop it going 1-0. Leicester City, by the way, about 5-10 minutes before we scored the first goal. It was game-changing. Raya made 2 saves and everything. The Ndidi header, which went past the far right post as well. Let's not act like we had a brilliant game. We did not. We genuinely did not, in my opinion. Yeah, Mikel Merino. You'll fall in love. I know you will. Our number 6. Dude, don't even. 2 shots, 2 goals, but Marmoush will outshine him today. Yeah, Marmoush scored a hat-trick in like 15 minutes instantly. They basically killed the game off in the first 20. And that's what Arsenal should be trying to achieve every single game. To have some security, to have some insurance during the game. Arsenal should be doing what Man City did today. 20-25 minutes, kill the game off. 3-0 against Man City, as bad as Man City has been this season. It's very hard to break them down, especially when they play with confidence. Because today Man City did something they didn't do before. They played forward passes quite forcefully. It was very forced from them, and they played forward passes, and it worked, because before that they played like Arsenal are playing. Slow, methodical, just side, back way, some thread the needle pass action and everything. What Man City did today, it was something they should be doing all the time, because they don't have the tools to some extent to play like how they want to play, so they should be just pushing it forwards instantly. Big up Kwame, big up. Ethan was incredible. Our youth is quality. Trossard cannot play as a 9, he's not effective at all. And that Trossard as a 9 is effective if we play in 2 attacker formation like 4-4-2. Because the Trossard's best game this season, you could argue, has been against PSG. And how we played against PSG, we had two strikers. We had Havertz and Trossard next to each other, and they were bouncing off each other. Pause. They were basically playing off each other in that regard. So I think in two-striker formation, Trossard as one of the strikers, he could be good. As a single lone striker, it's not for him whatsoever. Not for him whatsoever. Yeah, Nelly coming back mid-late March, but that's again a month away, a bit more. It's nuts. Nwaneri man of the match without shadow of a doubt. Big up Nelly. Big up. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're finally fully healed and healthy. You have all the flu and everything has passed and you are fully recovered. I really hope so. Yeah, let Saka rest. Don't play him this season at all. Start playing him next season or in preseason. That's it. Marmoush, man, why we in yeah, Marmoush, he was fantastic. He's looking very good. Very good. Not good for heart. He's resting and he's a lot better. He can walk and train. Now, to be honest, he's not training to the same extent. He's doing some individual lone training, some light trainings, not even the heavy trainings which he has to do in isolation. He's doing the light trainings. So it was all a PR move they did in Dubai. Let's be real. Why have this pregnant man king is injured? They see him off. He's now running himself on the ground for his cup, and that is Arteta's fault as well. Havertz has covered most distant, pretty much top 10 or top 5 in distance covered in Premier League this season. And he's a striker. None of the strikers are up there. They're mostly midfielders. Let's be real. How much was that luck? Quite a bit. Quite a bit. Obviously, putting him on up top, big up balls by the way. Putting Merino up top, let's be real, made sense to a certain extent. Because for the last, 2 months, we've been saying this. If the plan A doesn't work for Arsenal and Arteta, he doesn't have a plan B. So what do we result to? Crossing the ball. First biggest glimpses were against Inter Milan with 46 crosses. And in the recent times, we do it as well. And in that instance, if we tend to do that, putting up a 6'4", 6'3", 6'5" type of guy to get to the end of the cross seems like the logical solution at the end of the day. We were saying Gabriel. See, I'm right. Bless me. Bless me again. See, and we were saying Gabriel, Calafiori was being thrown around and we put Merino up top. So it standed to the massive point. Arsenal as well, they used to have Giroud. Although when we used to have Giroud, we did the complete opposite. When we had Giroud up top, we played tiki-taka. We subbed off Giroud, we put Volkot up top. We start to cross the ball. This time we did it the right way, and to some extent, yeah, phenomenal. 2 shots, 2 on goal. 2 goals. Because he has just come back. And the fact that we only scored in 81st minute, right? And their main threats came from the left, our right side, their left side. I think it was a bit too early for Ben White. I think in the game against West Ham, if we manage to do the job properly, he will play a bit more. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it's the first game back. He just buzzed on the bench just for the numbers because we had again 3 left backs on the bench, and mostly defenders once again. I think for the next game he will play. Yeah, 2 goals in 7 minutes. The biggest issue is that it took so long. In 6 minutes even, he scored 2 goals, Mikel Merino. The only issue is that it took so long. It took us pretty much till the end of the game. We had to push and exhaust ourselves to the almost maximum extent. If we did this earlier, in the first half, it was 2-0. More chances than not that Leicester City probably would have given up to some extent. I know they play at home, they wouldn't have given up, but their hands would have folded a bit, right? And Arsenal had a chance to score the third and everything will be game, set and match. The fact that we basically dragged it out till the end of the game, and even before that we could have been 1-2-0 down. Yeah, I think it took out from us a bit more than it was basically anticipated. Partey was the worst player today besides Sterling. Yeah, Sterling was the worst one. Next one was Partey for me, and that is not a good look. Yeah, our fan base is losing it again. They're going wild. They genuinely are going wild. Partey needs some rest. Yeah, we need some rest. I think Jorginho or Merino or Declan Rice even as a 6, we will see this quite soon, I think. Merino isn't the answer for our front line, but he deserves. Yeah, that is the case. He's not the answer long term, but to have a temporary fix, if it works, it's cool. Because it was the same thing with corners. We were scoring corners and set pieces at alarming rate. Have you noticed that in the last, what, 5, 6, 7, maybe even the last 10 games, we haven't scored even one corner? We barely have had a proper chance from a corner. They all get figured out, they all get defended. And for Merino, he can be on a cross, he can get to the ball. He doesn't have the best technical ability. He has a decent shot on him, I'm gonna give him that. But his turning range, his ability to be agile and swift on the ball is not there. So being a striker is not suited for him per se. But as a temporary solution, just to whacking crosses, for him it works like a charm. Let's be real. It works like a charm. AFTV saying Merino is good enough to be our out-and-out number 9. Oh, dude, they are deluded as fuck. I'm sorry. For Merino to be our out-and-out number 9, it's just stupidity to the maximum extent. I can see this being a temporary fix, right? Until the end of the season or until summer or however, or he decides to play Martinelli at striker once he comes back from injury. I can see it being a temporary fix. Maybe even if he doesn't start as a substitution to have an option there. I can see that. But to be an out-and-out striker long term, that is one of the dumbest things I have heard from top Gunners in the recent times. I'm not gonna lie. One of the dumbest things I've heard. Yeah, Ethan is on fire. By the way, your defense is in trouble with Merino in the room. Woohoo! And all that stuff. Good question. Saka and Nwaneri, yeah, they both. It will be very interesting how that's gonna basically unfold in the future. Did you get to watch the Chelsea highlights? Their disallowed goal? No, I didn't. I didn't. I'm sorry. I was meant to watch it, but I didn't. Today I had other things on the agenda. Let's just put it that way, and everything. So I didn't have time. But to be honest, one of the most embarrassing things about Chelsea, right, is Chelsea have paid Brighton about 270 million to sign some of their players and their manager. And they get pumped by Brighton 3-0 still. That is something different, I'm not gonna lie. Partey needs a rest. We just had the 10-day rest. Why the fuck you need a rest again, by the way? Just putting it out there. We went to Dubai to relax, re-energize, and basically pick up, gather some strength for the last push in the Premier League and Champions League. Why the hell we need the rest again? Like, that is the nuts thing in all of this. That is genuinely the most nuts thing ever. Partey plays too much, yeah. That is the biggest thing. Some of these players I'm very worried about because Thomas Partey, Jurrien Timber, those are my two prime candidates for a potential injury in near future. As much as I hate to say this, those two are prime candidates because both are, one is injury prone, one has just come back from ACL injury, and both are overplayed as hell and many times out of position as well. So those are the two, but hopefully we can avoid all that. And although with the squad we have, I can see some more injuries in the pipeline. Also, I said before, the game Merino is basically slow Havertz. To be honest, Merino can finish. I think Havertz in those spots misses at least one of those chances. I'm not gonna lie. We have seen it before. Let's not forget. Yeah, bigger BBK, my guy. Yeah, that was a big tackle. The far cross to the far corner and that last ditch tackle from Skelly, that was fantastic to keep it 0-0 still at the time. Yeah, big up. Like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new around here. Subscribe to BBK Sports. Fantastic content on his channel as well. If you haven't already, go subscribe to him as well. It looks like Nwaneri is taking over from... Yeah, basically. He has taken the torch, as in Olympics. You know, the Olympic run before the games. Like, they run across the world and everything. He has taken the torch, and he is going to carry it until Saka comes back. I think at the end of the time. Until that time. And I'm fine with that. If he can perform, if he doesn't get injured, I'm fine with that. Basically. And that basically is the good thing, because the more games he gets, the better he's gonna get, right? And if that is the case, I think the fact that we needed a Saka backup desperately, we have resolved. If Ethan Nwaneri can keep this up. Although with time passing on, him getting older, he will want more game time. What's gonna happen then? That is the big question. Because for now, well, he's 17, 18, even 19 to some extent, maybe even 20, right? He's gonna get games at Arsenal. He doesn't have to be a starter. He knows that Saka is our main franchise player, as Kroenke see it, as in it's in across the pond in USA as well. You have the franchise players and everything, the main guy, and so I think when Yuri has some good 3 years in him, and then we will have to reassess this situation, whether he's going to be a striker as a number 10 or as a left winger. Time will tell, but it doesn't look like he wants to be a number as a left winger, because he wants to cut in, just like Bukayo Saka predominantly wants, and that is the biggest issue there. For me, Trossard's best game was against Villa. Well, I would say he has had maybe 3 good games this season overall, like phenomenally good games, like it was PSG. Villa, to some extent, I can get that as well. Like, he doesn't have, he's very streaky. He can have a phenomenal game and then he disappears for the next 5. It's very weird with him in that regard. City pocketed Isak and Gordon, but they look like prime Messi and Suarez against us. Yeah, that's the case. That basically is what every time. Let's be real. I have seen enough, man. I don't want to see us getting bullied by Newcastle again. They can't even score on goal against City. Don't worry. Game week 37. Emirates. Arsenal versus Newcastle. We will have our chance still to get pumped once more for the 4th time. They got cooked 2-1 by West Ham. They look like prime bar. That's the biggest thing. Most of the teams, we tend to make them look better than they actually are. And that is one of the biggest issues I have for Arsenal. And that's also one of the biggest reasons why I don't believe we're going to win the league. Because Arsenal have this ability to make every single team, no matter who they are pretty much, we play against, make them look like prime Barcelona with MSN up top, with Xavi, Iniesta and Busquets in the midfield, and with the backline of Puyol, Piqué, Jordi Alba, Dani Alves and Victor Valdez in goal, basically. They have the ability to do that. How? Why? And how is this happening on consistent basis? I have no idea, but they just have the ability. Let's be real. The Chelsea foul was exactly the same as Joe Linton's foul on Gabriel. This time it gets disallowed. Well, what do you want? Premier League referees are awful. Let's be real, it's a common knowledge. It's very inconsistent. They make the same fouls, the same instances. You generally can have 5 referees in Premier League. Referee, copy-paste foul 5 times and you will get 5 different outcomes. No foul, foul, yellow, red card, or a penalty. 5 different outcomes. White is back, so Timber will get some rest, but Partey especially. That's the biggest thing. Timber is back, which is... Partey is... Partey, fuck's sake. White is back, which is great for Timber, because he's been... In my opinion, Timber has been run into the ground. He just came back from ACL injury half a year ago, and he's been playing almost every single game, full 90, as a right back, center back, left back, it doesn't matter pretty much almost. So he needs a rest desperately, and Ben White being back only adds to that. That is good. Now, with Thomas Partey, it's a bit different. We can rotate with having Rice as a 6, for example, and Merino as an 8. We can do that. Jorginho can play as a 6 as well. As much as I don't want to see this too much because he gets bullied physically too much, but it's an option that we actually might explore. I don't think Arteta definitely is not going to play any youngsters like Salah-Eddin, like Dauman, which he even cannot play in Premier League, let's be real. So he will have to deal with what he has at the end of the day. Manuel realized a bad 4-man City beat Newcastle. We got bullied, but yeah, that's the biggest thing. I hope he doesn't. I genuinely hope Michael Oliver never referees an Arsenal game again. Anyhow, some other news on the agenda, right? This was basically... Not this. We talked about Martinelli's contract yesterday. This is a weird one, basically. Arsenal are starting first Premier League game. That happened today, obviously. Arsenal started their first Premier League game. Wait, I need to fix this a bit. And it needs to look like this. Yeah. Arsenal started today their first Premier League game in 138 games without Martinelli, Jesus, or Saka, basically. Or Havertz. That's how long they all have been guaranteed the starting, basically role. One of them at least. That's how wild it was. In other news, Arsenal are looking at Margehi as a center back option. The biggest question is he being looked up as a backup? Because I don't see him being as a backup as well as it sounds. Yes, we need quality from the bench, but right center back, Saliba could be going to Madrid. It might all come together. It genuinely might come together in that regard that we basically sell Saliba and sign Gehi. I'm not sure that's going to be the case, but I don't know. Mark Gehi doesn't strike me as a player. If you sign him, he's gonna be a backup unless you are, but genuinely you are a big team that have big players in that position. If Saliba stays, that is the biggest question. What we gonna do with Gehi? Yes, we need quality, but he will want game time. And knowing Arteta, he has the same back line predominantly almost every single game. He doesn't change it too much up unless it's a necessity basically, or there's an injury, or he wants to just rotate on random occasion. Besides that, like it's a weird one in that regard. That's why we have signed players like Kivior and players like that, because well, we signed Kivior, we had Cedric Soares and Lichtsteiners and stuff like that. Mostly because well, you need someone who is willing to hold the bench. Like, let's just put it that way, so have body on the bench just in case. With Gehi, it's a bit different. I get it that we are fighting with Man City, we are fighting with Liverpool and everyone else. We need the players to rotate and everything, but based on these last years, I don't think Arteta wants to rotate, especially the back line. That is the biggest thing. That, for me, is the biggest question mark. What if he's going down with Arsenal? Who's going to play striker next? I don't want to say this, but against West Ham, right? Against West Ham. Next game's against West Ham, right? West Ham at home. Right? West Ham at home. We could actually start Merino as a number 9 against West Ham. Like, to have a tall, big guy against their defenders. I actually can see it, as weird as it sounds. I actually can see it, ironically enough. Yeah, I would love to get Wharton, although he's injured right now, isn't he? Man, why am I seeing people calling Nwaneri the baby Messi? Because Top Gunners are deluded idiots. I'm sorry, but I have to say this. Because calling players like that is just an utter total disgrace. It's a disgrace. It's why people need to get these comparisons. He's the next Haaland. He's the next Messi. He's the next Ronaldo. He's the next Modric. He's the next, I don't know, Neuer. He's the next Cannavaro or someone like that. Why they cannot just allow the player to fucking develop? Let them be the best version of themselves. Let them grow in peace and quiet and see what comes out of them. Because that is one of the biggest issues with the young players these days. Because many players, many youth, young teenagers have so much talent. And one of the biggest reasons they fail is the mental aspect. Because the media, the fans, the social media put so much pressure on them, calling them the next Messi, the next Ruud Gullit, the next Cruyff, the next Ibrahimovic, that they basically succumb to that pressure sooner or later if they're not mentally strong enough. And I mean, you are a kid basically in that time. You're not mentally as strong as you think. No matter how long you've been playing football, you're not mentally as strong as you think. At some point it gets to you. That's why professional sportsmen seek psychologists and everything, just to clear their heads, just to realize how they can cope with these things. So I don't get it. It's just stupid. It is absolutely stupid, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm not gonna jinx Nwaneri. Exactly, stop this absolute discourage when he just said, exactly, let him be. Let him develop, let him grow. Why the hell you need to tell him he's the next Messi? Why? Like that, I don't get it. That's what you mean people always do, put a lot of pressure on these young kids, leave them alone. Exactly, leave them alone. Take the pressure off them. You should be able to do that. The pressure alone, for example, for Nwaneri, right, as a 17-year-old, is playing for Arsenal. It's alone a massive pressure, let's be real. Third biggest club in England, one of the biggest clubs in world football, let's be real. Top 20, arguably. If not top 15. Biggest clubs in world football. That is pressure alone. I get that pressure, for example, is part of the game and everything. But the amount of, with specifically these days, with the social media that comes with it, it's genuinely almost like it's killing the player to some extent, because everyone can find them on social media. Everyone, you know what happened to Havertz and his misses after the game when he missed those chances, the bullying and everything. Same thing happened to Saka, happens to Vinicius Jr., happens to everyone. Why would you subject a 17-year-old to that? Because if it was your kid, right, you would be going out and looking for these people and just weighing in their heads who does that to your kid. So why do your own kid do that to, for example, Nwaneri and to other young people? Like, why would you allow to even do that? Pressure is part of the game. Some of these guys are... Yeah, true. I get that as well. I get that. These damn people always starting crap when he's just 17, his debut season, and he's just getting started. He's getting started. You're right, though. 17-year-olds different than 24. So, yeah, that because the world experience, playing football experience and everything, you gain that with years. You are not born with it. Because if I was, let's just say at 18, the person I am right now, I would be in totally different position right now if I knew what I know now 10 years ago, for example. I would be in life in totally different position, totally more likely than not different job, and more bigger chances than not I would be in totally different situations in my life. But that's not the case. Every day is a lesson. You live and learn. And that's the big thing. Youth projects by design can be criticized, though. And that is being criticized. Arsenal had a youth project. Ironically enough, we are still in youth project. Ironically, because we are signing these Naipans and everyone. Guys, I get it for the youth teams, for them to develop, maybe get in the first team ultimately. But at the moment, we are not in a position to basically commercialize signing youth players. It's not a youth project anymore. It's win now or get the fuck out of the club at this stage already. That's the biggest issue here. But yeah, that was a nice debate. Haven't had that one in a while. Raheem Shillings. These are Raheem Shillings' stats for today's game. Kid you not, today's stats for the game. Raheem Shillings for today's game. 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 out of 3 dribbles completed, 0.02 xg, 0.06 xa, 0 crosses, no ground duels won, 2 offsides. This is the guy who apparently we haven't seen the best of as of yet. This is the guy. Let's be real. Arsenal pay 100 grand of his wages. Rest of it it's being paid by Chelsea, right? He's on goddamn 300 plus grand, if not for even nearly 400 grand a week at Chelsea. And to make matters worse, in a month we play against Chelsea, and he still cannot play against Chelsea, which means we don't have actually a third strike up forward for that game. Think about it. Because Martinelli is not going to be back in time for Chelsea game. Saka is not going to be back. Havertz is not playing. Jesus is not playing. So ultimately, by the time we play Chelsea, we will have Trossard and Nwaneri. That's it. So what we going to do? Play, what's its face? Tierney as a left wing? Or what? What we going to do then? What we going to do then? Really thought, yeah, I did too. But I got proven wrong. To be fair, I've seen those same stats from... Yeah, true. That is true. I've seen the same stats from Martinelli as well, I'm not gonna lie. But it's a bit different though. It's a bit different. Martinelli doesn't come out in interviews and say you will see the best of me. He doesn't have the credit in the bank. Ironically enough, it works both ways, to be honest. Credit in the bank, you either have some cushion or you have bigger expectations. So it kind of works both ways. Those offsides by him and Trossard were, yeah, those were embarrassing. Like, those offsides that Sterling had today are the same level of offsides Martinelli tends to have. He's on the touchline. He can see the whole defensive line. Where are they doing fake offside traps and everything? He knows where to push forward or to move back. And he still is goddamn offside. He can see the whole back line and he still somehow manages to be offside. Odegaard can play right wing, so Nwaneri is playing left wing then? I don't see that. I don't see that at all, to be honest. That's, for me, the biggest thing. Because... Or against Chelsea, we actually gonna do this. Against Chelsea, I actually can see Trossard on the left, Nwaneri on the right, and Merino as a number 9 as starting forward attack for our team. because only we have 3 forwards in our team, and one of them is ineligible due to loan rules. So I actually, for that game, I can actually see Raheem Shillings to start. But I must say, that has been a waste of a loan. 100% waste of loan. Tierney as a left wing, that's the other option. Trossard down the middle, Nwaneri right, and Tierney left. That's the other option. Ultimately, there's not many options. Yeah, it would be nice to see Butler or Udeji. The thing about him is, though, he hasn't kicked the ball for Arsenal like ever. He hasn't had one single second in Arsenal's main squad still. And he's 22 right now, so he most likely is going to be let go for free, by the way. So that is also a big issue. Curious if he can play better than Nketiah. That's the biggest question. Nketiah still hasn't scored in Premier League in about 30 games, hasn't he? Yeah, Sterling arguably is the worst loan Arsenal have ever done. That is on the same levels as signing Kim Kallstrom on loan with a broken back. If not worse. Let's be real. Two of the worst loan deals Arsenal have ever made. Sterling and Kim Kallstrom. This is what Mikel Merino said after the game. Arteta told me I was going to come in as a striker. We were talking about it a little bit this morning. It's the first time in my career I played this position. Not a bad start as a striker, isn't it? Two shots, 2 goals, has better finishing than most of our attackers, and has scored pretty much all the same amount as most of our attackers this season. As wild as it sounds. As wild as it sounds. Yeah, Denis Suarez barely kicked the ball as well, but he actually got to kick the ball. He actually had some moments. Let's just put it that way. He actually had some moments. Sterling hasn't had a moment yet. Kim Kallstrom, let's not even talk about that. So who should be our number 9 against Chelsea? It's either gonna be Trossard as a number 9 and Tierney as a left wing, or actually Trossard as a left wing and Merino most likely is gonna start as a number 9. One of the two. One of the two. Merino has more goals than Zirkzee, Højlund, Kunku, and Nunez. Funny you should mention that, by the way. Funny you should mention that. Wait. Whoa. Funny, I saw that today. I cannot find it anymore. But yeah, he had that. Oh, by the way. Deji right now, if I were him, I would just be... Thoughts? Thoughts on this situation? 4 million or 3 million even. Sold to Sturm Graz in summer. In summer. 6 months pass. In January, Sturm Graz sells Mika Biereth to Monaco for 12 million. Arsenal have some sell-on clause. We get some money more. Okay, cool. Mika Biereth at Monaco so far. 7 goals in 5 games. He was a striker who was at Arsenal at this time. Dude, this is just... It's nuts. Let's be real. It's actually kind of insane. Mika Biereth. He's one of those guys I really hoped Arteta will give a chance at striker during the season. He was one of those guys. Because we were actually quite interested and quite desperate to get him when his contract ran out in the Fulham Academy. We got him. We loaned him out to Valajik in Netherlands, in Eredivisie. We loaned him out to Motherwell. Then we loaned out him to Sturm Graz. By the way, we called him out in January from Motherwell, and then he loaned out to Sturm Graz. Then Sturm Graz buys him, and then Sturm Graz sells him half a year later to Monaco. And now for Monaco, he has 5 games, 7 goals. He was a striker option we already had in the club. That for me is the biggest issue. Because we had Balogun in the team, remember those days? And Arteta decided he prefers Edin Nketiah. He sells Balogun, gives Edin Nketiah 100 grand a week. And in the same summer, if I'm not mistaken, Newcastle signed Isak for 70 million. And the reason why Arsenal were linked with Isak and didn't sign him was because Arsenal's board, yes, Garlic, Lewis, and all these idiots up there, deemed that 70 million was deemed way too high to pay for him because he wasn't deemed worthy the price tag. Now, fast forward 2 years, by the way, and Arsenal are linked with Isak, well, used to be at least these days, and linked with 150 million. So we were already, allegedly, we should be paying twice as much money for him than if we bought him 2 years ago. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Man, I can't say anything because if I speak, I'm in big trouble. That Jose Mourinho quote is always going to be legendary, I think. Arteta disgraces us by getting a man that's way past his best in Raheem Sterling. Yeah. Why? That's the biggest thing. And Raheem Sterling, half of his career is basically made by Kevin De Bruyne in his prime as well. Let's not forget about that. Because most of the goals Sterling scored were tap-ins on the back post. And who was delivering those crosses predominantly? Yes, Kevin De Bruyne. I remember he scored a header in the 4th minute against Arsenal, out jumping Rob Holding or someone like that as well, when we lost the game 3-1, I think it was. Oh yeah, Deji, Kenyon, Edwards, Anush, 3 strikers as there who can play, right? We have options, technically. We have options, but we just don't use them because they are not experienced and in this stage they are not deemed good enough. I get that. But we had feasibly good options during summer and we sell them. And that's the biggest issue. We have on some level purposely made ourselves worse. Because we sold proper rotational players like Emil Smith-Rowe. And we obviously not talking about Nketiah here or Nelson or someone like that, but we loaned them out and sold them as well. The issue is we didn't replace them. Because for me, the general understanding was if we let them go, we're actually going to replace them. And we did fuck all to replace them. Hence why we are in this mess right now as well, one of the biggest reasons. And people want to forget that. People don't want to talk about summer transfer window because it was too long ago, it's not deemed good enough and everything. But FTV say Arteta is the genius, top manager, best manager of all time, but can't even find a striker. Exactly. The question is, does he even want a striker? Because we are linked with strikers all the time. We've been linked with strikers since Aubameyang left. Every single transfer window, we have been linked with about 7, 8 to 10 even strikers every window. And the last time, the only time, let's be real, we actually have put in a bid for a striker, allegedly. You could say it's Ollie Watkins. Or Sesko in the summer, allegedly. One of the two. That's it. Rest of the time, only linked, only exploring, only on fire, interested and all that stuff. Only those. We have been put in a proper bid once or twice at best in 3 years' time. Like, that is a disgrace alone. That is a massive and utter disgrace, I'm not gonna lie, in that regard. Okay. This is the AFCV shamelessness I've seen today. This is how you know that they are part. This is the reason why these top gooners get their chest, basically. Tweets like this. And I didn't put this out because I'm a top gooner. I just want to call this out because this is embarrassing. Genuinely embarrassing. How can you dare to put something like that out? Merino is now the best Spanish striker in the Premier League since Fernando Torres. Are you fucking dumb? That is genuinely disrespectful to Fernando Torres. The full reason that, and you know, people say, oh, why we get bantered and other people laugh at us. This is the reason why we get laughed at as a fan base. Why most of other fan bases think that we are insufferable as a fan base. At least big part of our fan base is insufferable. Because biggest shit like this. Merino is the best Spanish striker in the Premier League since Fernando Torres. Are you dumb? Because Diego Costa doesn't exist, right? For example, Diego Costa doesn't exist, right? Let's forget about him that he has ever been in Premier League. Like, come on, man. This is so pathetic and embarrassing. I cannot even comprehend that how can this be a thing? How? Which admin read this and said, yes, This is something we need to post today, 100%. This is what the top gooners want to see. And to be honest, top gooners want to see this, but hey. What top manager can't even find one good striker and have good decent attackers do much of the genius phase? That's the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing. Cheers, man. Cheers, Bertson. Big up. This is the thumbnail if you haven't seen. Fits well, doesn't it? This is a very good thumbnail for today's stream. But the biggest thing is, you just know that some of these top gooners most likely will look at this and take this per point very seriously. They're not gonna think it's a joke or anything. They're gonna take this genuinely Brazilian seriously. He's Spanish and Brazilian. He used to be Spanish when he was at Chelsea. That was the shithouse we would need at the moment, to be honest. Otherwise, we're hella soft. Arteta thought that Sterling will help win honours as Sterling won with Liverpool and City and Chelsea. Has Sterling won anything at Chelsea? Oh, he has. No fucking hell. AFC, in this regard, they are, genuinely, yeah. This is the reason I get bantered at... Exactly, this is the reason you get bantered at work. Because stuff like this. Even though I never rated... To be honest, at Liverpool, he was fantastic. When he moved to Chelsea, that was the uselessness of his time. Because the chances he missed at Chelsea, you would never think that he genuinely has the nickname El Niño. And he was arguably some of the best strikers for Liverpool in recent times, to some extent, right? Like, that is actually kind of nuts. Exactly, FTV is promoting this, and you know the top gooners and everything is gonna eat it up, and they're gonna talk about this and everything. Sterling's absolutely washed, man. I may get in trouble with this, but he's slow and can't dribble, can't shoot, can't even score a penalty, bro. It's easy on two. Like, what can you do? Arteta fancy. To be honest, AFC, Arsenal Football Club, currently stands for Arsenal Fashion Club because we have released 16 different types of merch and we have 15 wins in Premier League. How we have more merch releases than actually wins in Premier League is also kind of nuts. No way in hell will Yalman Costa. No, I don't want that, but I'm thinking in terms of player character. We need that type of a player that pretty much everyone hates to play against, but you adore to have in your team. Like Diego Costa for Chelsea. Like, same thing to some extent, Jorginho when he was at Chelsea. Like Pepe at Real Madrid when he was there. Like, you need something like that. You need some characters in the team. And so, unfortunately for Arsenal, we have only marshmallows in our team. We don't have actually like properly grilled steaks and grilled beef on proper grill. We generally have only roasted marshmallows under campfire, and that's about it. Exactly. No, I'm not saying for fuck's sake, we don't need Diego Costa. We need characters like that. We need a striker more than anything, but from now going forward, 3 points is target. Exactly. Yes, we need strikers. Yes, we need backups. Yes, we need to have the team and sign other players. That is the case. That is the case. But from now on, every single game is a must-win game, if it wasn't already. And every single game in Champions League, well, that's going to be fun to see how that pans out. That time will tell who we're going to play in Champions League. That will be very interesting to see who we play in Champions League and who's going to play striker there. That actually will be very interesting. Bro has the easiest chances to finish, can't get a shot. So, yeah, Sterling missed empty nets as well. Remember the games. It's always rejects past Chelsea, Man City, or outcast players. Why not something? And that is the biggest issue here. We sign the big team rejects. Or we basically go like a homeless person in their trash cans. We search for the things that suit us, let's just say, and we just take them in our shelter. We are like a shelter, like a foster care, basically, what we are. Because we signed from Chelsea like William, Per Cech, William Gallas, obviously Jorginho, Havertz. Then from City, now we take Jesus, Zinchenko. We took Mkhitaryan from United and players like that, right? We do that. We take their basically utter garbage. Then we flip this around. And now look what those teams take from us. Genuinely. Because United took from us Van Persie. Chelsea took Ashley Cole. And it's a never-ending story. They always take our best players while we basically get their trash can. Basically, that's what it is at the end of the day. We are definitely playing AC Milan, Porto replay. AC Milan. Like, it would be interesting to see Rafa Leao against Arsenal. It would be interesting to see. But to be honest, I don't want to play AC Milan because AC Milan, the Porto replay for Conceição and everything, there definitely will be some grudges there. He has better players at his disposal than he had at Porto, and we barely scraped past Porto as well. So that genuinely will be nuts. Diego Costa will be decent for 6 months because of the low block. Will struggle against teams. We just want someone to stay. That's the biggest thing. We need someone who can sit in the box, and that's why, to some extent, Merino worked today. As much as Merino is not the type of player who's gonna press like heavy. We need someone who basically sits in the box, who we can cross the ball to, who can take a touch, drop a shoulder, bang in the net instantly. We need that type of a player. We had a chance to sign Ivan Toney. We didn't. We had a chance to sign Watkins. We didn't. We had a chance, well, to be honest, sign Dovbyk, even we were not linked with him, but everyone's available, so let's say it as it is. We had a chance to sign Dovbyk. We didn't. We had a chance to sign, if you want it or not, Alvaro Morata. We didn't. We had a chance to sign Mbuemo, Visa. We didn't. We always have chances to sign anyone, because if you pay the right money, you can sign anyone who you want on this planet Earth. Let's be real. It's just the fact we are not willing to pay the money. Or we need the right attitude in the player. Or we need the right profile for the player. And that for me is one of the biggest Mikel Arteta's outdoings. He is looking for players to fit his build system, rather than looking to buy players, world-class players, and adjust the system to fit the way they play. Because that is what managers needs to do, and that is one of the biggest reasons why we are struggling to many extents. We have a system in place, and we basically have players who fit the system. We should be doing this the other way around. We should build a system to fit our players, to basically highlight their strengths and hide their weaknesses. But we don't do that. We generally don't do that. Exactly. And this is the prime example. 22-23 season was the prime example which system works for Arsenal, how we should play. Now, we lost the league. We balled 8-point lead. We balled the league, right? Next season, what we saw, complete instantly go defensive, total utter control of the game and possession football, right? Instantly. And for me, that was going from one end of the spectrum to the other. And that was the worst thing Arteta could have done. Because the perfect balance for Arsenal is somewhere in between. Blitz teams 2-3 goals early, like they did in 22-23 season. Then sit back, control the game like they're doing since last year and this season. And then in between you can interchange because players know the system. But now we basically just sign bodies. We sign athletes like Merino. We sign Calafiori. We sign big guys to fit the physical system Arteta wants to play to some extent. To have tackles, to have bodies in the middle. He wants players to fit his system. Again, rather than to sign players and then adjust the system to fit the players to allow them to express themselves. Maybe, who knows? Arsenal should sign Osimhen. They should. Will they though? Arsenal should do lots of things. The question is, will they do them? Most likely not. Damn, man, though I think the team is better than last time. We need clinical number 9 up front for teams like... We need, to be honest, if we had clinical number 9 up front since the beginning of this season, we would be on top of the league right now. I'm saying this with my chest. We would be on top of the league right now. And that it is what it is. If Arteta can't... Dude, Arteta couldn't handle Guendouzi, Lacazette, Aubameyang. He couldn't handle them. What chance he has when he signs a new player and tries to handle him? Honestly, this team is 3 players away from being real. Exactly, that is the biggest issue. We legitimately are about a striker, a winger, a number 10, and arguably a number 8. Well, number 6, number 8, depends how you look at it, right? About 4 or 5 players, arguably. Obviously, we will sell some players, so we need to replace them. So overall, about 5-6 players away, if you invest the money properly, not piss it down the wind like Arteta has done before, with the 750 million and hasn't signed a striker still, right? And we are good. We need a goalkeeper, obviously. That's also a given, right? But if we spend the money properly in the right areas for the right players, we're done. We are good. We can go for the league massively. Unfortunately, we don't do that. Because for Kroenke, as a Kroenke said himself, as Kroenke said this, and this is where we stand. This is what Stan Kroenke said when he bought Arsenal. I didn't buy Arsenal stake to win trophies. And that's what they're sticking to. They do enough to keep us in top 4, and then everything is whatever it is. We signed someone so it looks like we're doing something, but at the end of the day, it's just enough to keep us in the top 4. And that's about it. And this is the biggest issue. I didn't buy Arsenal stake to win trophies. That's the biggest issue with Stan Kroenke. That's the biggest issue with our ownership. Let's be real. Wenger said top 4 is like a trophy. Now the most top gooners have adapted that mentality and push it out every single day. And that's two biggest issues. Heck, I would even say Ben Yedder has some very wild charges. And I don't mean the good charges, the bad kind. I don't want him at Arsenal. The 22-23 season when we blitzed Martinelli has sucked. Exactly. That was the season. That was the football Arsenal should be playing. Even, Bukayo Saka himself is coming out in interviews and talking with, between the lines, you have to read this, but he said himself in an interview that Arteta wants his his attackers to defend first and only then to think about the attack. And then a week later, when Ben White wasn't playing and Timber played, Saka came out in an interview and said that he loves playing with Timber. Because when Timber is playing at the back, he doesn't have to worry as much about defense. He actually can do what he enjoys, go on the attack the ball, and everything. So basically, Bukayo Saka himself is coming out in interviews and pleading for Arteta to allow this team to attack. But Arteta doesn't see it that way. And that is the big issue. Have a good night. Big up Nathan. Big up my guy. Thanks for dropping by. Dude, let's see. Wolves play Liverpool tomorrow. It's at Anfield, right? So we cannot expect anything too much from that game, isn't it? The game is at Anfield. Well, for fuck's sake. Game is at Anfield, right? Tomorrow. Game is at Anfield, if I'm not mistaken. Anything interesting? PSG 0-0 still. Bayern 0-0. AC Milan Verona. Groningen. Villarreal have scored against Valencia. Who scored for Villarreal? Big up Kwame. Big up my guy. Thanks for dropping by. Oh, Gay scored from Yeri Pino assist. So, wait, let me check tomorrow's game. So, who plays at home? Liverpool plays at Anfield. Yeah, I wouldn't put too much money on that Liverpool on Wolves winning that game. I'm not gonna lie. Sakanelli Jesus, man, that was before. Dude, Jesus was actually something special before that World Cup. Because he got injured in that World Cup and everything has gone down ever since. He's mashed up his knees about 3-4 times since then. But when I really like Jesus. Really like Jesus. He came into Arsenal. I thought this actually could work very nicely because we have very technical players that can do stuff. And until that World Cup, it actually was going very, very well. It looked like this could be something unique. But then he gets injured and everything went down the drain. And we never recovered, let's be real. We need more fluent one-touch crossing and passing like we're taking defenders more. That's the thing, and this is the biggest issue I have with Odegaard as well these days. He takes about 65 touches, does 3 spinneroonies on the floor, and then he unleashes the ball for the next pass. He slows the game way too much down. Way too much. Because if you watch Odegaard, like just focus on Odegaard when he plays, you can see he has the chance to give 3-4 quick passes distributed to Nwaneri, to Declan Rice, to Trossard and everything. But he takes 3-4 touches, he looks around, he does a spinneroony, only then unleashes the ball. By that time, the passing gaps are gone, there is no momentum anymore, and everyone's basically recovered and we are done. Our counter is worthless and everything, and that is a big, big issue for me. Neymar Zito actually cooking at Santos. Yeah, he's doing well at Santos. Very well at Santos. Read today a random rumor that potentially Neymar is looking at maybe if there's a possibility at some point, at least for a season, go back to Barcelona. Bro thinks it's defense FC, bro. We ain't even playing free. But that's the thing. I agree we need to be blitzing, but bro, Tottenham injuries are far from all the Ange blitz. The only thing we'll fix is depth. True. That is the thing. Injuries is one thing, but you need also the depth of the team to back up just in case something happens. Last year we didn't get injured whatsoever, pretty much. We skipped injuries like, I don't know, something like if you've played Mario Kart, you get the star, you can genuinely just ride through it and no one can touch you. This season we've been hit by every blue shell every freaking turn of the game, and it was bound to happen eventually, because the way I see these things, I don't know if you do as well. I like to think so that universe has its reasoning to balance everything out, to balance the world out, balance situations out. If you do good, you get good back. If you do bad, you get bad back, right? And since Arsenal basically avoided every single injury last year, this year was bound to happen that we're gonna get many injuries, because the fact that we avoided injuries meant that every single player is hella overplayed. They play about 60-70 games a season, including internationals, friendlies, and everything, and we are done. Because they were overplayed. 170, 180 games over 2-3 seasons, non-stop, almost every single game full 90, especially at Arsenal with no depth and no backups. It was bound to happen eventually. And based on summer window, you could call it like you're a fortune teller. But there was no fortune teller, everything. Vitoya Deji, Trossard, and Nwaneri 3. Maybe. I like Jesus too. Him and Zini took us forward. Still think there's a spot midfield for Zini. Yeah, for Zinchenko, I think as a number 10, I think there is a spot for him. He, I think, strikes me more as a number 10 even than more as number 8. The wild part is about Arsenal. We signed Zinchenko and Jesus, and it legit took us half a season, about 8 months, and we outgrew them as a team rapidly. Ironically enough, it was the season we challenged for the league instantly, the first season, and we outgrew them super rapidly, and we needed instantly to improve on that. And that, I think, also, as much as I don't want to play devil's advocate, I don't want to give any excuses for Arteta or Kroenkes, but I think it also played a massive role long term for us to not make any signings, because next summer we signed Declan Rice to 110 million, we signed Havertz 65 million and everything. And I think the fact that we outgrew Zinchenko and Jesus so quickly kind of also slowed down our progress in transfer windows, because I think we didn't pay all the money and we need to pay even that off still. And I think it also kind of put a damper on things. Bring back the attack that cooked everyone's defense. Exactly. The thing is, that year we had same attack, ironically enough, because we haven't signed any attackers. Our attack is the same. Obviously, Jesus is injured, but still the same. Our defense has gotten better, by the way, ironically enough. So that means that our defensively, if we play the same style, we should be actually more solid. Yeah, blue shell. Yeah. Basically. Zini has a left 8, yeah, or a 10. I actually would be interested to see. I stream every single day at 8 p.m. UK time. If I cannot stream, I do everything in my power to release a video anyways. I stream every single day pretty much. Next week, by the way, I have vacation from work, like a week off. So I'm gonna try my best to actually do some maybe day streams as well during the day, during daytime. Like a shorter ones, maybe for half an hour, 40 minutes, and talk about different things as well, if I get the time. But yeah. Anyways, I think that is the big all end all of today. Arsenal win 2-0. Arsenal beat Leicester City 2-0. Merino is the next big thing. He's our R9 these days. He's gonna be the one that leads us to the title and everything. Bro, I hope people can grasp the concept of sarcasm, because if they can't, it's gonna be a long day in my comments or something like that. But yeah, big up. But yeah, I think on that note, I'm gonna end today. If you haven't already, subscribe. Smash the like button and everything. Leave your thoughts in comments down below if you're watching this as a playback. But yeah, Arsenal win. 3 points in the books. Unsung hero. Lucky substitution or a masterclass. It's up to you to decide. But at the end of the day, we had to win. And we did it. We should be beating Leicester, because one of the worst teams in the league. They have generally won one game in the last 10 games. Ironically, the only win they have gotten in the last 10 games was against Spurs. Spursy as it sounds. But yeah, ultimately, yeah, we should be beating teams like Leicester. I know we have no striker, but we kind of lucked out a bit as well, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, we got the job done. Let's see what tomorrow brings. Wolves versus Liverpool. Liverpool play at Anfield, so will be very interesting. But yeah, for today, I am heading out. Take care, stay safe, have a nice evening, enjoy football, enjoy everything, and see you all tomorrow.